Welcome to another episode of the What's Next podcast. Today we're going to be talking about some of the common mistakes that we see business owners making, and sometimes even our clients, if we're going to be honest in a minute, mate. Let's get a bit vulnerable here.
Yeah, and look, even us, I would
Even
go
us?
so far as to say that we are not immune from making mistakes. Everybody makes them, and gee, we've seen some doozies over the last few years with clients, and we've made some mistakes.
Yep.
But the great thing about making mistakes is being aware that you've made it, what you've learned from it, and change so you don't do it again.
You get to learn from your mistakes, but you also get to learn from your successes. And I think that's something that I got taught in this last couple of years that's never really spoken about. You actually learn a lot from the victories you have, and then you just constantly improve on top of them. But for some reason, we all talk about learning from our mistakes. So when someone pointed that out to me, I thought that's actually quite interesting.
And that's a good point, because that will force your brain to seek out more of that feeling.
Yeah.
Of, gee, that's a victory, that feels good, I want more of it.
Yep, definitely. Because we are driven by success and also pain. So getting deep here early on in the common mistakes.
It does happen.
Yeah,
but
it can happen. Back to some of the basic common mistakes. I've got a list, and I haven't looked at your list yet, but I might peek over to your iPad. I like the electronic device you're using there, Phil. I've got one in front of me here too. Shout out to Apple, not a sponsor of the podcast, but what have you got written down?
Oh, I've got quite a list here. Understanding gross profit is one.
Oh, yeah. So that is what it costs. No, so what is gross profit? Yeah.
Oh, gee.
So your costs, sales, what's your cost?
Are you a chartered accountant?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gross profit can be measured in dollar terms and as a percentage. In dollar terms, it is sales minus your direct costs leaves gross profit.
Oh, so I got this shirt. It cost me $50 to make, and I sell it to you for $100.
$50 for the Where's Wally t-shirt.
Yeah.
Wow, you got ripped off.
Did I? No, I made it for $50. I'm selling it for $100.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a smart man.
So I got a gross profit of $50 now.
You do.
And then I sign my next one that I do, and I sell it for $120. So
They're a fool if they buy it for $120.
So now I got a gross profit of $70.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
And then if you take the gross profit in dollar terms and divide it by your selling price, you'll be able to convert that to a percentage.
Interesting.
And that's where the magic is.
Ooh.
Is then looking at that gross profit percentage and understanding what the trend is, benchmark it against your industry peers, understand what your competitors are doing. And in our view and in our experience, that is probably the single most important lever or pulley or button that you can play within your business is gross profit to maximize profitability.
Nice. Because if I can make this shirt cheaper, I'm going to make more gross profit that I can then invest further on into my business or pay myself more from, right?
Yeah, the beauty about gross profit is any direct increase in gross profit goes straight to your bottom line to net profit, because you haven't had to invest any more in overheads
To create the sale.
to create the increase in gross profit.
So
it is a true measure of efficiency, and we love an efficient business.
Wow. So understanding your gross profit, even how it's calculated and what effect that has over a time span, I guess, sounds like the key that I need to be doing here to get rid of this common mistake.
Yeah, you've got to measure it monthly, ideally. Compare month on month, quarter on quarter, year on year. There's heaps of data out there in terms of industry averages. Compare yourself. There is no magic percentage. Some people say, 30% is the magic gross profit. Well, no.
Yeah.
We can see businesses that are going out there doing 60, 70, 80%.
Yeah.
They're just real well-oiled, slick machines that know how to use their labor and their materials super efficiently to get a sale.
I like it. That makes a lot of sense to me. So important to look into that depending on, whatever
I'm really
business
pleased to
you
hear that it makes sense to you, because if it makes sense to you, it will make sense to the listeners.
That is 100% true, because I am also a business owner and I need to think about some of these things.
Yeah.
So very, very relatable. For me over here, I've got this one written down and we hear it a lot as people say, how do I have a profit when I don't have any cash?
Oh,
and I'm not paying tax. Why should I pay tax when I don't have any cash? the inability to understand cash versus profit.
That is massive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So common.
Where's the cash, Luke?
Well, you've probably drawn it out and spent it. Or it might be tied up in your debtors. People owe you money, but unfortunately we have to account for the revenue in this financial year, but they haven't given you that money yet. So you got to knock on the door and say, hey,
Pay me.
I want my money.
Yeah.
Give me my cash. So that can be a biggie. Or you might have spent it throughout the year investing in something that's going to help you grow your business. So you might have brought a fleet of vehicles instead of leasing them or something like that. Or you might have just said, right, we're gonna buy a big asset and use up your cash reserves, and you still have a profit, but you don't have any cash left.
Yeah, fancy a new bit of kit.
Yeah. Is there anywhere else it could be?
I think they are generally the three buckets.
3 buckets, yeah.
That cash can disappear into, if we use the word disappear loosely.
Yeah.
And in accountanese, the language that accountants speak, which can be confusing to business owners.
And to accountants.
and to accountants, yeah, you're quite right. Is that it's all these three things are what are found on what we like to call a balance sheet. And the balance sheet is a pretty foreign report to some business owners. Well, you probably know of it, you just don't know what it means. But it's a great illustration of where the cash goes. And to your point, Luke, it's either tied up in the debtors, the people that owe you money, you've spent it on some assets, or you've taken it out of the business by way of drawings.
Blowing it. Right. Where else? What else is going wrong?
I think from what we see, businesses that don't have a plan.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds super simple.
Yeah.
But even just something simple as a few key points about why you're in business, the problem that you're solving in your business,
Yep.
who your ideal customer is,
Oh, yeah.
what your values are. Now, this is deep for an accountant.
This is.
Yeah, normally it's a very black and white topic, the old debits and credits. But as accountants and business owners, I think it's important that we don't underestimate the value of a company culture.
Yeah.
And the values that are tied to that.
Yep.
Because that forms, in our view, the basis of relationships with customers.
Yep.
How you
Hiring
go about
decisions.
hiring people.
Yep.
Yeah, because you want to make sure that you hire people that are on the same page as you and share your values and your vision.
Yeah. I like it. And so that's people that are just winging it, right? Or just sort of, we did this last year, so we're doing it again this year and things like that. So not
yeah,
actually
and I
having
think
a
it's pretty
structured-
easy to sit back and go, well, I'm in business and it works because I can sell something and get paid for it, and then there's money in the bank, and you just roll along and you get potentially trapped in a comfort zone.
Yeah.
Without challenging yourself and having somebody challenge you objectively.
Oh.
And go, look, have you considered this? Have you considered that? You're just doing business in the North Shore. Have you considered what business looks like on South Auckland or East Auckland?
Yeah.
What does business look like outside of Auckland? Are there opportunities in the South Island?
Nice.
Beyond New Zealand, is there opportunity in Australia and worldwide? It's a massive global economy now, and there's a ton of opportunity out there, and having a business plan, a vision of what the future looks like,
Yeah.
will help in getting you where you need to be.
And banks like that when you go to lend now too. I know that ASB, for instance, they were telling us that they ask their clients, hey, what are your guys' 1 year goals? Which is awesome for us because that's a lot of the work that we do.
It is.
So we're going to start getting referred work by the banks that are saying, hey, you need to go and sit down with these guys and set a business plan and do it properly, not just download a template off the internet and fill in some, I'll say BS. We can say shit on this show, surely. Fill in some shit that isn't really true and send it off to the bank and go, here it is. They want to know that, just like a cash flow projection, that it's been challenged. It's got a third person looking at it. It's got some independent objectivity, and that then there's a form of accountability to the business plan as well. The big A word.
Bang on, accountability.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that to come out
Yeah.
because it's all very well and good having a plan, but if you're not going to be held accountable to it,
Yeah.
how are you going to execute or ultimately, in our language, get shit done.
Get it done. Yep, definitely. Okay, I can tick those off. I thought you might have had one of those on there as well.
Because, a plan is all well and good on the wall if you're not prepared to do the work, the mahi that goes in behind. And then that brings us on to, I think, a really good next point of understanding the value of time.
Yes.
And in order to scale a business appropriately, finding the time to be able to work on your business versus in your business.
Yep.
And leveraging off of your strengths to grow the business, and knowing deep down where you come up as a shortfall in some of your own strengths and go, you know what, I'm not going to invest time in this because it's not worth it.
Yeah.
I'll go and pay a professional to do it.
Makes a lot of sense. So the business starts to get really busy. They're doing so many different tasks and playing so many different roles, and then they get stuck doing the things that aren't actually driving the business forward, or they're not working to their strengths and they're bogged down in admin and whatnot. They need to go back to the 80-20 rule and think, what of the 20% of the things that I do have 80% of the impact of the progress of this business, right? That's a great tactic that we use for clients to figure out how to break the back of that common mistake, right?
Yeah, it is. And a recent example that got shared with us, we've got a client that needs to update their website, and one of the business owners has a creative background and can do the website.
Yep.
But their to-do list is probably 25 items long, and on that is the website. But there's more important things around HR issues and contracts and stuff that they need to be resolving first. So they look at it and go, well, yeah, we can do it and save ourselves $5,000, but that website's not going to go live for another 6 months.
Yeah.
Well, they've lost 6 months worth of potential sales.
Yep.
Or visibility in the online world, where they could just invest the $5,000 now to get a professional to do it. They go live, and then they've got another revenue stream, another marketing channel, somewhere that consumers can get their eyeballs to.
Love it. So that's almost like understanding the value of time versus money, right?
Yep.
And that's something you talk with clients a lot about. And I think it's something that we talk about a lot, and I think we take for granted then when we do have that conversation with clients. They sort of sit back and you really get them thinking, like, so you want to sacrifice 6 months, just the exact example, for the sake of $5,000.
Yeah, and that typical number 8 like Kiwi mentality. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
That Kiwi can-do attitude. It has a time and a place, and I think it does in the backyard and in the garden shed.
Yeah.
But when it comes to business, that attitude can be a barrier to scaling your business and taking your business to what is ultimately the next level.
Yeah, I like it. What is next?
But you've got to pay $1 to make $1 or two.
Yep.
So know when to invest. And the other thing is, don't invest too cheap.
Yeah.
If you're going to go and get a website done, for example, and you think it's going to go and cost you $5,000, don't go and try and hunt out the person that's going to do it for $1,000.
Yeah.
You don't go hunting around if you need to go and get something done to the old ticker.
Yep.
And look for the cheapest doctor.
Yeah.
You're going to want some top quality medical advice and some real top-notch set of hands.
They're touching you.
Tinkering with your ticker.
Yeah, that's right.
Your business should be no different. You need to and be engaging with the right people that are going to be offer you the professionalism and the service and capability.
Yeah.
It's probably the most important part, the capability to be able to help you get you to where you need to be.
Interview your suppliers and make sure they understand you, your business, your values, and that's where if you've done some of this stuff, you can have those conversations and say, look, these are our values. How do you relate to those? Tough for somebody to answer that's not going to align with your values. They're going to just guess their way through and they're no good.
That, Luke, is a really, really good piece of advice and something I think that is so often overlooked.
Yeah.
Of interviewing suppliers or people that you're in business with.
Yep.
Not your customers, but the people that you're getting your supplies from, and making sure they're on the same page as you.
Yeah. Because
you want to do business with like-minded people.
And then it flows through to your customers, and I'm going to share a personal experience from today around values. So with our little side hustle, Boys Get Paid, our online community. Community is one of our values, and it's at the heart of everything we do. And we're looking at getting our app upgraded and including some changes.
Cool.
And they've basically included all the changes and mocked up like where they'll sit. And they said the other option is that we create a community hub and we put because all of these changes are built around people being able to use the community, using the things that are on there rather than us doing it or giving them the information. So they're coming on and adding comments and things like that. And so they said we could create a community hub. And in my mind, I was like, that's probably like a lot more work, and it's kind of, then we need a whole different area of the app. But I stopped and thought, and I went back to them and said, you know what, actually, and I really like how they've mocked up this first design. I said, actually, let's go down that route, because that is at the heart of our values community. And I said that in the email back. And I said, movement. Yeah, in time we'll be able to then add more things into the community hub, and it'll help people understand that community is a value of the group. So they can be used for decision making very practically whilst building an app.
Well done. Always the visionary.
Yeah.
Thinking ahead.
That's it. That's the strategic.
A couple of 100 paces ahead.
Oh, I do run fast. Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah. But, sometimes if we want to go far, we've got to go together. And if we want to go fast, we go alone. Isn't that what they say?
I can't say I've heard that one, but it sounds good.
Anyway, we like to go far and fast. But also that leads me to something where sometimes we'll see business owners, they'll try and do everything themselves and not know when to invest in some help, so that website build or a team member or a support person, or just putting their hand up and saying, you know what, the reason I haven't done this stuff is because I don't know what I'm doing. Can you please help me? And we've done that so many times with clients. We've just gone, oh yeah, we know someone that can do that. Yeah, we'll make an introduction for you tomorrow. And then bang, they've done it, and they're sitting there thinking, why didn't I do that earlier?
Yeah, and the other one that I've seen is a while back now, a client wanting to do their own shareholders agreement.
Oh, wow.
And the internet is a great place.
Yeah, wouldn't be gambling on that one.
Google can show up some interesting
templates and
things.
Yeah.
But business templates, be very cautious. A client downloaded a shareholders agreement template.
Wow.
And I've even seen businesses take a shareholders agreement from another business and change the names and dates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, the things people do to save a buck.
Yeah.
Not smart.
Skimping on it.
No, and that's the type of thing that it's very smart, very wise to have a shareholders agreement if you've got multiple shareholders in there. But get the right legal advice. Yes, it does cost money. Lawyers, they aren't cheap. We all know that. But, in reality, suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah. Spend wisely, eh?
Yeah, it's an investment in the future. And while you're looking through life with rose-tinted glasses on, because most people do, life's good.
Yeah.
Who's to say that in 5 years' time, 10 years' time, the shit hits the fan?
Yeah. Things happen.
What's going to take us back to how this all gets resolved?
Yeah.
The shareholders agreement.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be downloading one of those and trying to. I wouldn't even just download it. It just wouldn't be something that you want to get your head into.
I mean, look, if you were going that far, you'd just be waiting for old sanitarium to put them in the Weet-Bix box, surely, and just pull one out.
Well, that leads me to a few things that I can probably wrap into one topic, and that is basically mindset. And that if you are skimping on $1 and trying to save $1 and cut costs, maybe you're actually looking at it with the wrong mindset anyway around, okay, if I'm having to try and cut costs everywhere, is that because you don't back yourself enough to generate more revenue? And I've got things written down here. Mindset, you don't back yourself enough. They don't think big enough. And I think it's all sort of intertwined into one, right? Like we'll see some clients doing really well and we'll do a bottom-up analysis for them around how much profit they can make, and they'll set a figure and then we'll work it back to how they can actually achieve that. And they're like, oh, wow, that's actually easier than I realised. And I think as Kiwis, we kind of have this thing not to dream too big or put it out there because someone's going to cut us down, or we're just sort of
tall poppy syndrome.
Stay humble and all of these sorts of things. And there's a place for all that stuff, but if you are a big dreamer and a strategic person and you're a creative and like you've got all those things,
so like yourself is what you're saying.
Yeah, like dream big and try and achieve those things, because what's the worst is that worst thing that can happen is you don't quite get there, but you'll definitely achieve beyond just setting some pissy little goal that is really easily achievable. And then you end up back to the going, well, I need to start again. I need to dream bigger and go bigger. So
yeah, and the phrase that gets thrown around a fair bit that's trendy these days, I think, And even in the school system, I've heard the kids come home and talk about it as the growth mindset.
Oh, do they talk about that in school?
Yeah, they
That's
do.
good.
And it's an interesting one as to how much of it the children genuinely understand what one, mindset is, and then two, having a growth mindset. But in the business context, a growth mindset might be something as simple as, well, rather than looking at ways that you can, as you were saying earlier, to save $1, invest that time to go, how can we grow our sales?
Yeah.
And then do some revenue analysis to find your top 10% of your customers, and then go, how can we find another 10 or 100 more of these people?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'd rather spend an hour or half a day doing something like that rather than an hour or half a day going through my overheads trying to trim those costs.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Because it's going to have a much bigger impact on profitability and then cash.
Yeah. And getting in the habit of it, eh? So if we go back to that website thing, you're sitting with a supplier and they say this is going to be $5,000, and your instant reaction is, oh, $5,000. Use that as a reminder to yourself to say, oh, okay, $5,000, cool. Do you have any ideas of how I could make this $5,000 back once I've got the website? They'll sit there and be like, yeah, this is what you'll need to do with it. And you're like, oh, okay. And they'll be like, well, it'll take one of these customers or two, and they'll get a better understanding for you as well. And all
then
of a sudden,
because it's not such a big hurdle to overcome once you translate it to go, well, if it's $5,000, then it's X amount of customers or sales that you need to do.
Yeah.
And this is how we can go and get that. And well, actually, when you look at it from that point of view,
yeah,
it's not that bad.
And you're like, I could achieve that in 6 months, and I was potentially going to delay doing this for 6 months. So a completely different way to look at it. From a different level of mindset. And mindset in general is so important. And we talk to clients about being above the line. So, you know, ownership, accountability, responsibility, rather than I'm going to blame someone else in the organization. Oh, I didn't get that done because insert shit excuse here.
Yeah.
Or deny, like, no, I didn't know I had to do that. Or no, that's nothing to do with me, you know. So you really want to try and stay above the line. Naturally, our brains tend to go below the line and kind of defense and make sure that we still feel important to ourselves and things. But, you know, own some of those mistakes and get some accountability and hold yourself, well, and just be responsible. Yeah. Set yourself up to succeed with a good mindset.
The next thing that I've got on my list, Luke, is something that is, in my experience, completely foreign for accountants.
Oh.
We like to go through the P&L and
I know.
you're spending too much on this overhead.
Personality?
You're spending too much on this one. But look, we're probably not spending enough on accounting fees, to be fair.
Yeah. Bump them up.
The one thing that we see clients should be spending more on, marketing.
Marketing, yeah.
Advertising and marketing.
That's the first thing an accountant or CFO will usually recommend decreasing spend on, eh?
Yeah, not smart.
In a tough time, or when things start getting tough.
Yeah, from what I've seen, when you understand your consumer, so you've really gone through that business plan process and understand who the customer is that you want to be doing business with, or who ultimately buys from you and you make the most money from, and you know how to grab their attention,
go for it.
Bet the house on it.
Yeah, nice. That's solid advice.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Don't literally bet the house on it, but you know, you should be doubling down on whatever that recipe looks like.
Yeah.
To go and find more of those people to be selling your products to.
Yeah. And, you know, that by that stage, you understand margin, you understand who your ideal client is, you understand what that does to your net profit, your profit overall, the value that they bring in the lifetime value, the cost of acquisition. You understand all of these things, these scary things. And you're probably a little bit advanced at this stage when you're really hammering some heavy marketing at an area where you know this is going to pull me results.
Absolutely. And I think these days with marketing, it's important to understand it's gone beyond traditional marketing channels.
Yep.
And understand how social media works. Businesses are now not only online, it wasn't that long ago where everyone was going on about, 50% of businesses don't have a website or whatever the stat is.
Unreal. Yeah.
You know, and to think that still so many businesses don't have a website, I think we've got getting to a stage now that you need to have a social media channel.
Definitely. I believe what it comes back to, and that people don't understand a lot in New Zealand as well, because it's very out of our nature, is that, you know, even I think wasted marketing spend, this would probably sound really bad to some people, is actually still good spend, because if you create awareness, like if people don't know who you are, they can't transact with you. They can't just think in their mind, I would like to start building a relationship with them. I might follow them. You might not be selling them to directly to start with, but you might just be doing an awareness place. But the reality is, the more people that know you, the more chance you have at succeeding. And if you think that's not true, well, how does an election work? You know? So think about your business like you're running it as a campaign. You want the whole country to know who you are. And then you want to pick up the people that resonate with you, and they're going to become your fans.
Fans, and that's ultimately what it comes back to, isn't it? Raving fans.
Having raving fans.
Yeah, there's so many things out there these days that are distractions.
Oh, yeah.
Netflix, Facebook feed, Instagram. So ultimately you're paying for people's attention. And if you understand your customer at a deep enough level, you'll be able to hack their attention and grab it and target your advertising and marketing efforts to get their eyeballs onto your content and then for them to ultimately make a purchase from you.
Yeah.
But there's a heck of a lot of work that needs to go in to get to that point, and a ton of learnings. And as you were saying before, you've got to invest the money in it, and some of it may be viewed as wasted, and don't look at it like that. It's a learning.
Yeah.
You know, we've done marketing on this particular thing. It hasn't worked. So we know not to do that again. Let's go and invest some marketing
somewhere else,
spend somewhere else, or change our content.
Yeah. No, very good. Very well said. And a couple of stats for you. 90% of people on Instagram follow a business. And, you know, people are starting not to follow people or brands on Instagram because they use it more as a search function now rather than a follow function. So
interesting.
Yeah. So if you know, a lot of people will make a buying decision based on, especially in hospo space cafe, they'll go, I'm going to go look at the menu via Instagram.
Wow.
If you don't have your menu up there and colourful, good looking pictures, there's a high chance that you're going to go, I might just check out this next cafe. And if they got a better feed, literally, get that? They got a better feed. Hey?
Oh,
we got jokes.
That's a pun. Would that classify as a dad joke?
No, I think that's a goodie. I really hope it is, but the people will give me the feedback out there. But yeah, just to reiterate for those that didn't pick up on my absolutely outstanding joke, if your feed isn't good enough, you might not get the sales. So make good feeds and make good Instagram feeds.
And it's almost limitless what you can be doing in that online space.
Yeah.
It blows me away some of the stuff that businesses are up to be able to engage with their audience, to build awareness, build trust, to ultimately get a following and get people buying their product.
Love it. We are coming up towards the end of a half an hour on common mistakes that we want people to think about, whether you're doing or not doing, or how you can avoid. And one for me to finish, Phil, would be that people don't have scalable systems in place as they start to grow, and therefore they then can't create a consistent level of service to people throughout the whole business. And that becomes a huge problem when people say, you got to go to these guys, XYZ happened, and then unfortunately that was a bit of a one-off experience because it wasn't actually scalable or it wasn't actually systemized or a process, and then somebody gets a completely different experience and they're like, oh, that didn't happen for me. Are you sure? Or mine was crap, you know? So,
and that scalability piece comes right back to the foundations that you lay.
Yeah.
By having the right plan with the clear vision, the values, and your ideal customer, if everyone's clear on that, that's going to make it a stack load easier to scale.
Have a plan.
Because you're going to be able to hire the right people that are going to be able to go, this is where we're going. As we said earlier, these are our values, etc., go forth and conquer. Here's our processes. Then you can know that there's going to be consistency within your business because everything aligns.
Love it. Those have been some of the most common mistakes that we come across when dealing with clients, non-clients, prospective clients, business people, ourselves, and just people in general. So hopefully you found something of value in there. Phil, is there anything that you didn't get off your chest or off your list before the listeners dive into the next podcast?
We've, I believe, covered off the common mistakes and added a ton of value like we normally enjoy doing.
That's what we're here for.
Helping people prepare for what's next.
Helping people kick some ass. Sorry, I got excited. If you are getting value out of these and you're enjoying them, feel free to let us know. We'd love the feedback. We'd love to know they're not deep enough. They need to be easy to understand, anything at all. We'll take all feedback on board and we will help cover some of the content topics that you guys send through to us as well. So thank you for tuning in. We will see you very soon.